I suppose if I could travel back in time, the kingdom of Mali would be one of my top choices of where I would visit. It was likely the wealthiest kingdom on the face of the earth in the late Middle Ages, probably had the highest quality of life for its citizens, exhibited an early form of democracy, lacked the level of extreme violence found in most of the world, and was one of the foremost learning centers globally. Goods from all over the world commonly would be found in Mali, including ones from China and India. In the U.S., we are given a very Eurocentric education. We are taught that Europe was at the center of the world in advances in prosperity throughout history. This is not correct. The Romans and Greeks shined early in history, but they were preceded elsewhere by several thousand years of civilization. Rome did carry on as Byzantium in modern-day Turkey until 1453, when the Ottoman Turks overtook their kingdom. During the Middle Ages, or Dark Ages, Europe for hundreds of years collapsed and fell far behind much of the world. China, India, Khmer, and Cambodia, Bagan and Burma, parts of Central and South America, the Arab world, Iran, Afghanistan, Mali, and other areas were doing far better. Also, the Eurocentric viewpoint often is that Black or Sub-Sahara Africa has never had prosperity. This is not true, although it is a difficult place geographically and geologically for civilization to flourish. Mali is located in northwest Africa and is one example of an African country which flourished and did so over a long period. Around the year zero, Mali had large urban centers. The Kingdom of Ghana, in what today are countries of Mali and Mauritania, was written about in the 9th century for its prosperity, but may have been wealthy several hundred years before, which is when the camel began to be used for hauling goods for trade there. Ghana prospered in the trade of gold, but also iron, copper, and ivory. The Empire of Mali existed 1235 to 1670. Mali in the Middle Ages was the second largest empire on the face of the earth. Only the Mongol Empire of Genghis Khan was larger at the time, which is the largest empire ever. The Kingdom of Mali was typically about 478,000 square miles, but at its peak reached well over 1 million square miles, or 4 times larger than the U.S. state of Texas, or 5 times larger than the country of France. The Arab and Islamic world during the Middle Ages was known to be far more scholarly, emphasized education far more than Europe, and even preserved much of the surviving knowledge from early European antiquity, such as ancient Greek or Roman texts. One of the places the Kingdom of Mali would send students to learn a different perspective in education was the University of Al-Qarawiyyin in Fez, Morocco. The university was established in the year 859. Today, it is recognized as the oldest and longest continuously running university in the world. Later, Mali would develop into one of the great learning centers of the world with its universities and libraries. Rumors in Europe were that Malian cities, like Timbuktu, had gold-plated streets. Salt and gold had about the same equivalency in worth for some time. The Mali Empire at the time accounted for nearly half of the world's gold and a significant amount of salt as well. Gold came from the forest south of the Mali capital. Wangara people kept the location of its mines secret. Tagaza, a region in Mali, had so much salt that it alone allowed Mali a virtual monopoly. Mali then controlled the trade of 2 of the most important goods throughout history, and did so for at least hundreds of years. Cotton and kola nut were also frequently exported goods. The kola nut is known to quench thirst, which is why it has been used in and provides the name for cola drinks, including Coca-Cola. Mali would flourish until late in the 17th century, despite internal divisions and war with Morocco. The Bambara people, relatives of the Mali kings, would begin the Bambara Empire in 1712, and this would last until 1862. During its formation, many of the Bambara were sold as slaves into Louisiana by Morocco to the French. They were predominantly the first slaves in Louisiana. The Bambara were often more educated and literate than their French masters. They are responsible for many innovations, particularly on Louisiana plantation mansions. They heavily contributed to an architectural design more suited for longevity in Louisiana. In 1825, the French Société de Géographie offered a large reward to find the lost city of Timbuktu, as its location was not known by Europe. Many would try, and it would take 4 years for René Caillard to claim the prize. The Empire of Mali was known for exceptional leaders who used the empire's wealth to build a place of knowledge, prosperity, and a good living for its citizens. By contrast, one of the reasons for its downfall was poor leadership after perhaps more than 1,000 years of prosperity. It then became like so many prominent empires and fell from an example to all of humanity and through progressively worse leaders to a country today which is one of the poorest in the world. It has gone from one of the least violent to most violent. It has gone from a great learning center with an impressive literacy rate to one of the worst educational systems in the world in only a few hundred years. It has gone from an impressive political system with ingenuity, integrity, lack of corruption, and an understanding to one rife with corruption, instability, and one with an equally bad health record. Coups and separatist clashes are common today. History teaches us that this transition happens quickly, and when we don't plan to prevent it, it is inevitable. Is our world today different? Maybe, but this still should be a concern, and we should question how to prevent it. It seems that ultimately it was the invasion of Morocco that made a difference, but successful invasions are the result of poor preparation. A nation needs to build itself with a long-run mindset. It needs to constantly question how it can further prosper and develop. It should constantly strive to better utilize its human resources. The one constant in history among prosperous nations is they were good at educating, but none came anywhere close to what they should have been. Had Mali continued to assure its educational success, focus on its advancement, and diversified its economy, then it would be among the world powers today and likely would have upheld its status as one of the wealthiest and most educated nations. Please subscribe and like the channel. Thank you so much for watching.